Hello once again, Star Wars Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba, Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, and I think I have a sickness. Yes, I do. I have a sickness, and I need the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. And the problem I have, I'm saying this tongue-in-cheek, just so you know. The problem I have is I'm becoming obsessed with collecting vintage, loose, banged up action figures. Like the ones right here. Like these. Ones that I already have. I've just become obsessed with it. And I don't know why. I'm not sure. I think it comes down to a lot of things. Okay? And I want to go through them. You're my, for the handful of you to watch, you are my therapy. So, first of all, again, quick background. Been collecting since I was 6. Was right at the prime age of Star Wars collecting as a child. Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, not graduation, but confirmation, communion, any other type of milestone event was accompanied by action figures. So, and by the time the last movies came out, and past the last movies, I was in high school with an allowance and discretionary income, and at that point I was like, well, I've collected almost all the figures. So even though I wasn't really playing with the toys anymore, I was kind of just getting my toe dipped into the collecting world before it really dropped. Before there was just nothing available for a few years. So I was able to nab just about everything. I think the only thing I wasn't able to get was a Yak Face figure, and I was able to get the Tri-Logo version of it, in an antique store like 3 years later or something from when it stopped being released. So I had everything. I had it all there. And some of the last third are pretty good condition because I didn't play with them as much. The first set, the Star Wars ones and a little bit of the Empire, not so much because I was all over the place. I took them outside, took them in the creek, took them all over the place. They got played with, as they should have. So, and then over the course of through my college years and just out of college, I might see a bag of figures at a flea market and I'd pick them up, or some kids, sometimes I had friends who said, well, I don't really want these anymore, you can have them. So they would give me a little box full of figures. So I just held on to them. And I remember a friend of my brother's, he and I made a sale. I was able to purchase from him the display stand that held the first 12 figures with a little cardboard backdrop, and they could turn their bodies. You might have seen it if you watched the channel. It's in the display case, and a 12-inch loose but complete Luke Skywalker. I think I paid $125 for the two things. Oh, the display stand, including the figures. So all complete, all the figures on a display stand with the 12-inch Luke Skywalker. All together, $125. At the time, that was a decent amount of money. So I was kind of like, ooh, did I make a good decision? If I had wanted to sell them at that point, probably not. Now, 12 complete action figures that are in pristine condition, the display stand, the Luke Skywalker complete, yeah, I'd probably do okay. So it was a wise investment. So anyway, I guess that's... So as of late, then of course came the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s and the early 2020s into today, where there's just been non-stop, vintage collection style, or at least 3 3/4 inch figures of all, really good sculpts, improved sculpts, better sculpts, characters we never had. And then they started doing the vintage collection, like the ones that are looking like the old card art, which I loved and I still love and I still collect, but they don't announce too many of them. They'll announce in the course of a year, you might get 10 figures or even less. Sometimes they'll do a couple of packages, or army builders, but not a lot of the actual card figures, except the ones that come with the ghost or whatever. So as of late, there hasn't been a lot. And plus, with the closing of Toys R Us years ago, there just hasn't been much going on in the toy stores. I go to Walmart, I go to Target. In fact, the place I've had the most luck is being in Disney parks. With their droid figures, their droid factory figures, that kind of thing. That's where I've had the most luck. Target, Walmart, not much. Some of them will have, there'll be a ton of Black Series, but the vintage collection, there are very few. So I've just been kind of like, okay, so I've started going into antique stores and flea markets, as you've seen on the channel. Case in point, side note, this episode was actually going to be an episode about me going to my local flea market to check things out and see if anybody had anything. Yeah, I was stupid. To go out, it was 21 degrees out in the morning, and when we have some bad weather coming right now, so nobody was setting up. Nobody. So I got there and it was pretty much empty. Like one truck with some guy like putting out furniture. Like, okay, that's not going to work. So then I went to another flea market, and stupidly, I didn't check their website. And yes, they were technically open on Saturdays, but not in January and February. So there we go. So I think I'm going to stick to when I have the opportunity, I'll go to some vintage toy stores and vintage toy shows, that kind of thing in the wintertime. And I'll save the flea markets and the yard sale, hunts for the springtime in the summer. So you can look forward to that. So, but today I did look for something. I have been having a lot of fun on eBay, and I've had a lot of fun on Facebook with some of these groups, like different Star Wars vintage collecting, buying, and selling groups. And some of them have things called claim sales, where they just list a whole bunch of stuff and the prices, and they put pictures of each one, and then you kind of go to each one, and if you like it, you say claim, and then it's yours, and then you work out a PayPal transaction, with Facebook messaging. There are sometimes they're kind of like pseudo auction ones where they'll give you something and say starting bid is $10, and people will like put in $10, $20, $30, $40, $50. They'll do it kind of like in the comments. So, and of course, there's things like Heritage Auction and Bodner Auction and a few other auction houses that I've been taking part in. But in those cases, I've been trying to buy more bulk, so that and then trying to sell off some of them, maybe because I just wanted one for the collection, that kind of thing. Well, again, back to eBay. eBay is still a great place sometimes for it. You can really find some great deals. So I found this one on eBay very, very recently, and they were awesome. They were quick. I did they had a certain price. I offered a slightly lower price. They accepted, and they mailed it out right away. So what is it? Well, I'll show you in a minute. Ooh, this is a good box. Use that one. Well, this, again, and the thing is, that the problem with doing this type of collecting is that I've already collected all of this. So the stuff I collect now is really just, extra stuff. Or it could be stuff that I put out for my yard sale. Who knows? We have the Star Wars mini, I love it, mini action figure collector case. I have one of these already. However, this one, it's in worn condition. It's got the two things with their two, with their little stands on the bottom, but decent condition. It's got wear and tear on it. Like the seller was awesome. Pointed out anywhere where there was a wear and tear, you can see that there might have been some warping on the Star Wars part there. It kind of bends a little bit, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. But this wasn't by itself. It came filled with figures. What figures, you might ask? Well, why don't we just take a see here. Let's see. Now, I will say that these figures were not in the best of condition, and they're not all they're not all original ones, right? We got a Darth. These are like basically, I kind of got it more for the case. The figures are just more like fodder, and they are all been pretty much damaged. Like, here's the thing: we've got two, not one, but two of these Death Squad commanders with their heads missing. There's one. And here's the other one. At least I still have the heads. So there is another site. If you do find yourself in this position, there is another site. It's called Toy Polloi, and he does great how-to videos on fixing, how to fix action figures, how to repair them. Although honestly, a little glue or a tiny bit of like a pin and glue is all you really need for these. There were a few items in here like this. There's a Yoda here that is not an action figure. I have no idea what it is. Just a little. It's just a standstill figure. We also have, I believe these are from the small Galactic Hero, or no, Force Unleashed. Excuse me, Force Unleashed things. So there's a little snowtrooper. Okay, we also had we had Luke and Han. These are other, more recent, like 90s Luke and Han. Oh, Luke's probably a little later, but one completely untouched and in good shape figure. We have both Lando and Chewie. These two are probably the only two that are in decent shape. The limbs all work, head spins. Chewie's in good condition. So we have a Padme, pregnant Padme. We do have an old Luke, and it looks like his head has seen better days. They used a pin. So, I mean, I think I was more into the fact that here we had a really, well, for one thing, I don't really have a lot of loose Chewie. So Chewie and Lando are gonna find themselves back here. I think all my other figures, as far as, I'm gonna keep these two Death Squad commanders over here and do a little pin repair. Padme, Lando, you can, yeah, Lando works. You get back there. And all these guys are gonna find themselves in here. And this will probably go in the sale. I don't know. We'll see. We'll play around with it. But then I'm like, and then there's another part of me that's like, I would, if I could gather up a few of these, I had like an idea about making these into some type of a display. Like one of the things I'm doing now is trying. Is this gonna close? Interesting. Does this not want to close? Oh, there we go. I am trying to find myself in a situation where I'm being more creative with how I maintain the collection, that kind of thing. So I am looking into different ways to display it, different ways to showcase everything. I mentioned on the channel my cousin who owned a Hallmark store is in fact in the process of one more week or two before she closes it. And she's been giving me all these little display, like acrylic pieces to, help manage my space, which I really appreciate. So I've been really enjoying, in fact, I'll use this right now to put this on camera so you can see it better. So I've been enjoying, just tinkering with everything. I've been into trying to find boxes. That's my main goal. I don't mind finding loose figures, and I'm trying to build up a collection of vintage, original 70s and 80s figures. I'm about, I would say, a little less than halfway. I'm at about 47. Oh, maybe no. I guess I'm just about halfway. I have about 47 individually carded figures. So in addition to all of the ones you see, all the loosey-goosey ones back there, I've got a box in the back room here filled with a bunch of such throw-in ones, and then I've got my own personal loose collection that's all, in order on the wall, which you've seen in the videos. And I'm thinking about trying to put like one of these cool like vintage card art kind of backdrops, but I want to make it myself. So if I do get to that, I'm in a slow process of figuring out how to do that. But if I do get to it, I will share that process with you on the channel. Right now, all I'm doing is finding card. But basically, if you've seen it, I don't know if I can put a picture on there. Probably won't be able to. But there's been some people, but especially in the UK, there's been some people that have created these beautiful like shadow boxes that can hold. Some of them can just hold like 10 figures. Some can hold 100 figures. Some can hold every figure in the line plus larger figures like the Wampa and a Tauntaun and the Rancor and Jabba and the band and everything else. And they put them up with the backdrop that each carded action figure had. If you think about a vintage card action figure and how it stood in this little racing stripe frame with a color, right? A solid color like red or blue or yellow. And they created them, and then you can put the figures in. They even have the little pill that says the name of the character, and they have them there. So I'm trying to figure out ways that I can make one of these myself, but I am not an engineer, nor am I a very big creative builder, But I've tinkered a little bit, so I'm trying to figure that out. But anyway, so I got this. I don't know what I'm going to do with the case. I'm probably going to end up putting it in the sale. Now that I'm looking at it, it's a good case. It's not a great case. It won't shut. There's just a few things about it that are just a little off. So unless I don't know if I'm missing something here, but yeah, it just feels like maybe it got a little warped. But regardless, it'll serve its purpose. And I got a few figures out of it, and it was fun. So, and again, a lot of this investing in the sale. Again, the sale is June 26, 7, 8, 9. That is not changing. Rain or shine, that's happening. Hopefully, it's not like a hurricane. But beyond that, I don't. In the past, I put it up at the top of my hill, and other times I put it in my garage. The garage seems to go better because it's at least shady there. So that's the plan. So maybe you'll see this there. Do not reach out to me for any like questions about, can I have it? Can I get something early? Come to the sale. Come to the sale, or send somebody that's in this part of the woods, Flemington, New Jersey, Central New Jersey, to come to the sale. All right, but I'll give you more information about that later. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Check me out on Instagram and X, or not X, sorry, I'm no longer on X, but Red 5 is on X. I'm on Bluesky. You can look for me on Bluesky. Red 5 Network supports the channel and talks about it. Thank you so much, Red 5, and all the other Red 5 networks. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. And until next time, folks, may the Force and the toys, whether they have heads or not, be with you.